All right, greetings everybody. Welcome to this little last minute webinar. I'm so glad everybody could join, those of you who are on, and I know some people are going to be watching the recording afterwards. I'm just trying to get everything all not sideways. I just felt moved to have this time just to connect with people and be able to reach out and support you right now, going through what everybody on the planet is going through right now, and how can we maintain our center? How can we maintain our clear mind during this time where everything is changing by the moment? And I know that's true for all of us. So what I'm going to do, I made a PowerPoint for us so I didn't have to talk to my reflection here. And I'm going to share my screen so that we can get our PowerPoint going. And please forgive the dog in the background who's going to be barking, but that is just how we deal with things right now, isn't it? So let me move this so that I can get my slideshow going. Okay. All right, so my name is Lynn Barrette. I know a lot of you I know, some of you I know very well, and some of you I don't know at all. So I appreciate you joining me regardless. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to put them in the Q&A section. I will try to kind of check that as I go. But if I don't, feel free to email me at chicagobrainspotting@gmail.com. What I would like to know too, as we're going through this time today, maybe we'll be not even an hour today, but I want to know what kinds of things that you feel like you're going to need during this time. What can I do to support you? Because I want to not just have this webinar today, but continue to be of support to you. Some people have mentioned already online meditations where we just get together and meditate together. I went through this weekend an online brain spotting training. I'm a therapist, by the way, for those of you who don't know. And brain spotting is one of the tools that I love using in my practice. And I was assisting at a phase 1 brain spotting training this weekend. And instead of being in person like they usually are, we were all online because we couldn't meet together, obviously. And there were 63 of us online sharing together and learning together, and we were able to see each other. There's this little bar across the top. I didn't turn on that feature for tonight because I knew some people didn't want to be seen. That's okay, but I would like to, in future webinars, I would like to have that option where we can see each other, because I think that connection in this time of social distancing is important, and being able to see faces of people who are going through similar things right now is really good. So we got another vote for an online meditation, so that is awesome. All right, so let's see if I can get to the next screen here. Awesome. I got to move this Zoom bar out of the way. Let me put that down. So this crisis that we're going through, this COVID-19, is something that is affecting everybody. And a friend of mine recently called it the equalizer. You know, everybody's affected. There's no discrimination on what's happening right now. And it's not hopefully turning us against each other like maybe a world war would be. It's something that everybody's able to relate to. And what it's causing right now, because of the sudden upheaval. You know, one minute my son is home from school for an extra week of spring break. The next thing I know, he's moving his stuff home for the rest of the semester. So things are changing so fast. And, you know, if you're listening to any news at all, things are changing by the moment also. And it's putting us all in a state of shock, whether we are aware of it or not. David Grand, who is the formulator of brain spotting, jumped into the training today, and he was talking about this. We are all in shock whether we know it or not, because we have been taken out of our sense of normalcy. So for some people, that's going to show up like maybe being nonchalant about it. For some people, it's going to show up as being very afraid. For some people, it's going to show up as, you know, maybe being kind of stunned and not knowing what to do. And there's probably 50,000 other ways that it might be showing up for you. So it's important to, and we'll talk about this more tonight, it's important to be aware of how it's showing up for you. So another thing for us to keep in mind is that fear is contagious, as we all know. I'm pretty sure if you sign up for this, you probably have an awareness of that, but so is peace. And so as we can maintain our own peace, we're helping the peace in our household. We're helping the peace in our neighborhood. We're helping the peace in our community and the calm. And we are able to think so much clearly and be with each other so much better when we can maintain our own peace. I'm talking so fast, I'm running out of breath, so I gotta slow down. So everything we do right now to support ourselves in maintaining our own calm is going to support humanity. That is just a given. And taking care of ourselves is the best way to help everyone. And that's kind of what I'm going to focus on tonight. So how does social distancing affect us, or how can it affect us? There's many other things that we can add to this list, but I want to know a little bit about how this pandemic has affected you so far. What are the changes that are happening for you? What, you know, if you are aware of how your shock is showing up, if you feel comfortable, let us know in the chat section, and I invite people to kind of check that out so you can see how much exactly we are really all kind of experiencing this together. We're experiencing similar things, and you know, and we can support each other just by that validation. So we have fewer distractions, right? We have, you know, we can't go shopping except a few hours of the day, and my schedule for work is still very full, so the hours of the day that the stores are open are not any time that I'm available. So I'm sending my son to the store and sending my boyfriend to the store, you know, and everybody's having to pitch in differently, and I am, you know, well, this last week I was stuck either in my house or in my office and coming back and forth from those two. And now I'm in my house. So I have, except for going outside for a walk, and I can see in front of me out my front window and it's snowing, which is not my favorite time or weather to walk in. So I'm feeling a little bit more isolated, and I may just have to get over that resistance to cold weather. And for those of you who know me well, it is not an easy thing for me to do. So I haven't been willing to anyway. So anyway, there are fewer distractions. We just can't go out and eat. We can't go do those things that often we fill our time with. We're left to our own thoughts, and that's probably the biggest difficulty that we may have during this time. Maybe this is going to be over by the end of April. Maybe this is going to be over by the end of May. Maybe it's going to go on for a while. We don't know, but we are going to be with ourselves the whole time. So we're going to talk about dealing with our thoughts today too. It's more intense relationship time. You know, I was an empty nest mom 2 weeks ago, and now now I've got a full house and an aging dog, and I have no time to myself anymore and no place to go to get it. So I'm going to have to work a little bit harder to find that time and make sure I get that time for myself. We have less positive validation from others because we're not going out and doing those things. We're not being able to hang out with friends and have that connection time. And it's easy to forget what an impact we have on other people and the impact that they have on us that's positive and supportive. Depletion of positive activities, to decrease human touch. If you're a hugger, there hasn't been any of that for a while. And it also this time can feel really isolating and abandoning almost, which can touch for some people on old issues of, maybe old traumas in the past as well. And that's the therapist in me talking. Oops, I think I'm gonna have to go back. Hold on. I got too excited here. Oops, I'm gonna move that in different order. Oh, this is fun, isn't it? All right, let me go back to my slideshow. Okay, from current slide. All right. Oh, we did that one already. So one of the things that we're going to have to do is find the positive in the turmoil. And let me go just kind of check in on what you guys are saying. Okay, so that wasn't what I was looking for. Let's see. Oh, there's the chat feature. Okay. Let me see if I can pull that up. There we go. So you can kind of see people are sharing what they're experiencing. Loss of control, right? No work. I feel like I'm being restrained. The isolation. A lot of people are feeling that, feeling like we don't have the freedom that we've had before. I mean, just kind of looking at people's comments, not being able to see family members that we're used to seeing, that we love. Somebody enjoys their alone time. That's awesome. And being able to feel okay with that, and maybe even feel relieved not having to go outside. That's great too. That can be part of our experience as well, especially if you have a lot of inner resources that make that quiet time feel very good. People are having dreams that around us. Yes, I've heard that a lot too. Excellent. All right. Yeah, and for those of us who are helping other people, one of the ways that I found myself dealing with my own shock was to go into action in helping other people. What am I going to do for my clients? What do I need to do to get my house ready for my son being home for, until August at least, right? And how am I going to see my people online? How do I have to set that up? And I just completely forgot about myself and what do I need and how am I going to find that alone time? And it's just been in the last couple of days, actually, even after I set up this webinar, and a dear friend of mine asked me on Friday, how are you doing in all this, Lynn? And I felt her sincerity, and I felt um, like she really cared how it was affecting me. And I had to say, when I checked in with myself, I had to say, I don't know. I have not even thought about how this is affecting me. And that was my shock. I am awesome in a crisis. Just call on me in a crisis. I am there. I will get it done. Maybe I'll, have to go away for 3 days when it's all over, but I'm awesome in a crisis. And so we have to be kind of in tune. We have to ask ourselves, what is going on inside of me? So part of how we can help deal with ourselves during this time and dealing with any kind of turmoil, whether it's this or anything else that shows up in our lives, is what positive outcome can I see coming from this time? And I invite you, if you've been able to reflect on that, reflect on it now if you haven't. But let's hear some of your responses, or read some of your responses about that. What are the positive things that you can see coming from this? It's going to make us, it isn't going to, it is already violently making us change what we're doing, do 180s in many cases. And what is the positive outcome you could possibly see? And even if you have to make something up, what kind of positive outcome outcome could there be from this time? It's causing us to reevaluate our priorities. Any kind of turmoil does, because we can't keep doing the same things we've been doing during a crisis. We have to drop some things very quickly and reevaluate and go, okay, well, I guess I can't just go shopping whenever I want to. So what's really important? What do I really need? I have not ordered from Amazon for like 2 weeks now, you know, and I don't even have to go out of the house for that. But I'm so focused on what do I really need that, you know, everything else is not important. You know, it's a good time to let go of bad habits. It's a good time to reinforce positive changes. Our bad habits are going to be highlighted because we will be with ourselves more than ever. We don't have those distractions. So our you know, and any habit has served a purpose at some point. So I don't even like calling it a bad habit, but it's our, you know, those things we know we want to change. And maybe we've known we want to change it for years, but this is a great time to do that because we have time. We have time and we can focus on, okay, well, if I want to eat better, how can I be doing that? What do I need to do? What, you know, I've got 3 hours to go to the store today. What kind of food can I get? How can I learn to make things that are healthy that will be better for me? And to reinforce those positive changes, because again, we have the time and the space to do that. And to have during this time an underlying commitment of being good to ourselves, to being a friend to ourselves, is very important too. I'm just going to kind of see your positive things that you're writing up here. So you're able to reflect on how your upbringing has helped you and prepared you to function well. That is awesome. People who are with other people at home and having to stay with other people at home are getting closer, walking more, cooking more. Excellent. Be present and centered. Yes. Yes, excellent. And it's able to see, somebody's sharing that it's able to help her see how her inner resources really are there and they really are good and helping her through this time. So yeah, excellent, excellent. Able to see the positive things going on too. And looking at our values and kind of hitting the reset button on the inside and being grateful for our country. And sometimes that overproduction can come in handy, you know, unless it's toilet paper at least. So reevaluating priorities, excellent. Making healthy changes, good. Enjoying home, enjoying being home instead of trying to get away from it. Yes, excellent. Slowing down, yes, slowing down. And being able to see but everybody's humanity, exactly, exactly, because there is nobody that this could that this couldn't possibly touch, right? And so we're all thinking about, oh my gosh, my family members, my parents are in Nashville, and how are they doing? And you know, and everybody's feeling that. Everybody's feeling that. You know, my daughter lives in New York City, and how is she doing? And is she okay? And then there's all the communities, and you know, this famous person has been diagnosed positive for COVID-19, and oh my gosh, how could it touch them? You know, and we are all in this together. So great responses, great responses. Committing to making phone calls to people and touching in, you know, all those times when we say, oh my gosh, I was just thinking about that person and they sent me an email, and now we can be the first one to call instead of waiting for them to call too. Okay, so I think I might have, no, I didn't miss a slide. Okay, good. So moving on to this next one. What we need to do for ourselves is have a routine a routine of self-care. Okay, so I'm just going to go over some bottom line basic stuff that needs to happen, and then we'll go into a little bit more inner directed kinds of things. So maintaining your healthy hygiene every day. You know, if you're a shower every day kind of person, keep doing that. Brush your teeth, keep eating well. You know, sometimes in when something big happens, we can forget or not care about taking care of ourselves physically, you know, not taking care of our space and just kind of letting everything, it's like, oh, I don't have to go to work. That means I don't have to do anything, right? But there's something about maintaining our hygiene, maintaining our feeling good about ourselves, whatever that looks like to you, that is going to help keep our mental and emotional state lifted as well. So, you know, one of the things that, well, and doing those things that, the next one is doing those little things that help you feel extra good about yourself. So I was kind of laughing when I was writing this because, you know, so for some people it's bringing home flowers. We have a couple of bouquets of flowers around the house here. And, you know, those little things that can help lift your atmosphere, lift your own state of mind. For me, I am a product of the 80s. So even though I don't have to leave the house for work, I'm going to make sure I shave my legs every few days. And nobody gets to mention that next time you see me in person. But that is the thing that makes me feel like I am taking care of myself. So that's something I will do. I will continue to dye my hair. I will continue to do all those things that make, not for anybody else, but those are things that mean something to me because my vanity has not left yet. So it's going to be there, and that makes me feel okay, and that makes me feel uplifted, and I'm okay with that. So, but you have to find that what that means for you. You know, does it mean flowers? Does it mean painting your toenails? Does it mean, what would that be for guys? I don't know, making sure you're well shaved, you know? What does that mean for you? And I would love to hear some of your ideas too. Like, what is that for you? To reflect on that. Those are all important things. Maintaining your healthy eating. It's, you know, it's great to order pizza because they're still delivering, but maybe, you know, if we're not eating healthy, then that's going to weigh on our, not just our physical health, but it weighs on our mental health too. So it's important to keep that going and keep moving. Movement is so important right now, especially when we feel isolated, when we can tend to feel kind of trapped, not being able to move. I still see people walking outside with their dogs, and I've done that at least once this weekend. I probably need to do it more, but continue moving. One of the things I like to do is, and I've done this for years, so it's nothing new for me, but I really feel better when I put on one of my exercise videos on YouTube and, you know, make sure I exercise even just for 10 minutes a day, you know, 10 minutes a day, 10 minutes every other day, that I'm good. If you're a yoga person, continuing to do that, make sure you're stretching, make sure you're moving, because we've got some sedentary time on our hands right now. Have a dance party, you know, just have some kind of movement going that keeps you going. And laughter and play is essential. After yesterday's training, I came downstairs and my boyfriend is here and my son is here and the dog is here, and I just felt kind of gnarly, like, okay, I just processed a whole bunch of stuff during my training, and it's hitting me now that I'm stuck in my house. So I was feeling kind of gnarly. And instead of making myself feel wrong for that, I just started kind of making fun of it and cracking jokes and, you know, being kind of sarcastically silly about myself, and it was funny. It helped lighten me up. So, and then we ended up binge watching a series on Netflix that was really cute and silly and fun, and it was, you know, it was fun. It wasn't the usual, you know, FBI show like we like to watch. So that laughter and play is essential. Again, contacting other people via telephone or FaceTime or Skype or, you know, whatever kind of video messaging thing that you have going on is really nice. It's nice to hear somebody's voice, but right now it's really nice to see somebody's face that you know. There's a lot of endorphins and positive brain chemistry that happens when we connect with somebody else. If you think of, if you're on Facebook and you see pictures of puppies or kittens or babies or, whatever makes you go, oh, those are all good things too, because they uplift you and they put your mind body system in a state of positive feeling, and we really need that right now too. And this is the last on the list, but it is really important also, is continue to be productive. Do something. That to-do list that has been, had those 5 things on it for the last 5 years, now is the time to get those things done. The closet, that closet, the garage, you don't have to be close to anybody to clean out your garage. You can just go ahead and do that. And those boxes, you can wait for a while to take them to Goodwill, but just get them ready so that they're ready to go when this all is over. So my sister was posting on Facebook the last couple of days. I swear to God, she is amazing. She has, what was she doing? I can't even remember, but she's like, oh, so I did this and I did this and I did this, I did this. I'm like, how do you have time for that, even during like a stay-at-home ordinance? How do you have time to do all that stuff? It was so great. It was so much fun to watch all the things that she was doing and having fun with. It was just fantastic. So be productive. Make sure you're checking 1 or 2 or 3 things off your list. And actually, there's a study done that showed that when you check something off your list, there is a rush of oxytocin, which is one of our positive brain chemicals that gets released when we're doing good things and we're feeling good about ourselves. It increases the oxytocin and it makes you feel good, and then it motivates you to do the next thing. So it's a little addictive to be productive. My son was telling me last night, he said, Mom, you are the most productive person I've ever met. He said, which I don't feel that personally, but I will take it. But he said, yeah, you'll always say, I do want to sit with you and hang out with you, but I have to get such and such done first. I'm like, yeah, I guess I do that because I like to get things done. So anyway, I'm weird that way. But okay, so moving right along here. Let me see where you guys are at and what you're doing. Let me check my time too. We're doing good. Reaching out to people who are feeling low. What a beautiful act of service right now, to pay attention to others, to be there for others. I was noticing on my Nextdoor app, do you have that, where you can kind of be in touch with your neighborhood and community and, sell this or ask a question about that? And there were so many posts this past week of teenagers who are now home from school saying, hey, if you need me to go to the grocery store for you, I will. You can just leave your list on the door and I'll make sure I wash my hands. I'll leave the stuff on your front porch. We don't even have to talk. We don't have to touch. It's there for you, but we're here to help. And it's just so beautiful to see all those people stepping forward. So yeah, taking more baths. And, I don't think there's been a run on Epsom salt, so that's always awesome. And what else we got going on here? Yeah, isn't it? Technology is so great. We've got cell phones, we've got, all these video things, online courses right now. Those have been coming out of the woodwork now too. And um, lots of good video chats. Yeah, that is awesome. And I think my mom's on here too, so she's going to bug me for a video chat now. It's okay, Mom. I was thinking about it today anyway, so it's okay. We'll do that. I'll see you and Dad soon. Okay. Making phone calls. Oh, Linda Michael raised her hand. That would be my mom. Hi, Mom. I will talk to you later. Okay, so let's see. Finding a way to be optimistic and having to put an optimistic spin on things. And if you're the kind of person who has to do that for other people, make sure you can check in with somebody who's doing that for you too, because we need that. We need somebody to remind us that, hey, I care about you too, as you're caring about all these other people. All right. Oh, making masks for hospitals. That is awesome for those sewers out there. I saw that online today too. That was a request from people to make hospital masks for our medical people out there. So, okay, awesome, good. A sense of unity, yeah. Yeah, a sense of unity for everybody as we're all going through this. Definitely, absolutely. You know, there've been so many big events like this. This is a unifying one because it can affect all of us, and it is affecting all of us. But you know, if you look at the smaller, which didn't feel small at the time, but if you look at the smaller situations like the pulse shootings and any shootings that we've had, you know, where we all kind of come together and we say, hey, this isn't right, and we feel like there's this reverberation of compassion and love and grief that unifies us through that. So this is our opportunity to do that, hopefully with as little grief as possible, you know, however we can do that. So, okay, let me see if I can get to the next one. Okay. So I was kind of thinking about how the basic tools about getting through any kind of emotional wave of anything. Okay, so right now we're talking about it with a pandemic, but these are skills that we will be able to use forever and are important to use forever, because life is always going to throw us something, hopefully not something big like this every time. You know, I'm sure it won't, but there will always be something where we have to be on our game. We have to be aware of ourselves while still acting in the world and taking care of the things that we need to take care of. So the three things that are most important for us to do is to know ourselves. How do we react to things? I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about each of these. And to stop. When we feel that wave of emotion coming up and making us feel afraid, we need to stop, 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 stop. And then get into our Zen zone and then proceed from our calm state, because we're not thinking clearly. You know, if we could all have thought clearly, maybe not, but maybe there wouldn't have been a run on toilet paper, because we all would have gone, you know, this is the United States, we probably aren't going to run out of toilet paper. But we did, because people were acting from fear, right? And a strong sense of personal hygiene, but fear mostly, right? All right, so I got to throw a joke in there every now and then. I can't tell if you're laughing or not, but it amuses me, so that's good. All right, so know yourself. In order to manage our own emotions, we have to be aware of how emotions show up for us. And it'll be different in every situation for us, but if we're paying attention to ourselves, watching, what am I feeling? What's going on in my body? What's happening for me? How is my being triggered? How is my shock showing up? How is my emotion showing up? How is my sadness showing up? How is my fear showing up? You know, because of brain spotting and my training in brain spotting, I'm very big in what's happening in my body right now. Where is it showing up? Is it in my gut? Is it in my heart area? Is it in my shoulders? Do I have a headache? Do I feel stiff all over? Is my jaw clenched? How is that showing up for me? And just pay attention to it. Just pay attention to it and just see and be with it. So mindfulness is something that I use in my work all the time, my own work as well as with my clients and in classes and things. So what that is just being present with what's happening on the inside. Notice that, okay, I'm feeling it in my heart right now. I'm just feeling it in my heart right now. And just watch it with curiosity and compassion and gentleness, and just watch how that's going on. Watch what's happening and just let it be okay. Like when I was feeling snarky last night and I could really tell I was just like in this like gnarly state of mind, and I just allowed myself to be there. I just allowed myself to be a little pissed off about the situation because I had not allowed myself to feel that before, and I just let myself feel it, and it passed. There's no emotional state that's going to last forever because our brain body system isn't set up for those to last forever. So if we just hang out with it with compassion, like we would for a friend. So we take whatever we're feeling and we hold it in our hands and we say, yep, I get it. that's what's happening right now, and that's what you're feeling about it right now. I totally understand. It's okay. Can we do that for ourselves? I think we can. I know we can. We can do that for ourselves, and then it dissolves and it passes. Maybe it'll come up again next time, but then we just say, oh, there it is again. Let me just hold this um, and be there for myself, be a good friend to myself, because all my other friends are busy watching Netflix right now. So I need to do that for myself. And regaining clarity to your body means moving from a state of dysregulation to regulation. So that agitation that we feel is just our nervous system saying, I don't really know how to handle this right now. And if we can just be there with that, we can help that mind-body system get to a state of calm where we're thinking more clearly. So we move from being triggered to being at peace, and we think more clearly. I've got an awesome picture of the brain coming up too, so hang in there. All right, so more about knowing yourself first. Asking yourself, how are you? Like my friend did for me. How are you? Look in yourself in the mirror and say, how are you? How are you dealing with what's happening right now? What's going on? Are you feeling very serious about it and concerned and worried? Are you feeling like, I can go hang out with my friends at the bar and on the beach. I don't need to, social distancing. Yeah, watch this. Here's your social distance. I'm with my buddies, whatever. Yeah, okay. So that's how you're handling it. Are you feeling afraid? Are you feeling like the superhero? Like, okay, I'm stepping up to the plate and I'm going to be here for everybody else. And I don't really need anybody. Are you in shock? Just kind of numb, like, I don't really know what to do. I don't know what's going on. I'm just kind of here and I think I'll have some cereal. I don't know what else to do. Like just being aware of how you're dealing with it helps you go to the next step with it. Okay, if I'm in shock, I just need to give myself some time to know what's going on with me, to let myself be in shock, to notice what that feels like in my body, and to give myself some compassion and some comfort and say, it's okay. It's okay for me to be in shock right now. It's okay for me to feel like I have to go take care of everybody else right now, even if I can't be near them. It's okay for me to feel afraid. It's okay for me to feel whatever I'm feeling because that's what I'm feeling. So, um, so asking yourself too right now, what has already changed in my world? And this is kind of stretching your self-awareness to the outside of you. What's changing in my world because of this? Some things may be obvious, some things may be not. Like it's obvious that my son moved home from school this weekend, but it isn't quite obvious how we're going to keep the kitchen cleaned up on a regular basis. So these are things we need to think about. Who's doing the laundry now and how are we sharing these loads and how am I going to deal with work? How am I going to deal with my finances? This is impacting people in so many different ways. How can I reach out and help somebody? How is my world changing because of this? And it's important to even take some time to write that out. Write out your thoughts, write out your feelings, write out the facts of how this is affecting you so that you can get it out of your head, and that will put you in a different part of your brain from your emotional part of the brain to the rational mind a little bit more, so that you can say, okay, here are the things that are changing. What do I need to do about it? And thinking ahead a little bit, not too far ahead, but what might possibly change in the near or distant future that I should be thinking about, but not overthinking about. There's a fine line in there. And what do I need to be doing during this time to take care of myself? And again, being aware, because you might not know yet. I did not know. I did not know how this was going to affect me until after I set up this webinar. So this is once for you guys and once for me. One thing that I still need to figure out is my alone time. How am I going to have my alone time if I'm with my people all the time? How am I going to be with myself? How do I need that time. I need to be around other people. I'm very social, but I also need my alone time too. And how am I going to balance that when I am stuck in my house? So these are things to think about for yourself too. So this is a tool that I use. It is from Spiritual Power Tools, Support for Your Soul by Jane Elizabeth Hart. I forgot to put her website there, but it is, her organization is called Center for Enlightenment, and her website is cfenlightenment.org. And you can find this on various places on her website and YouTube and everything. But I use this a lot in my work and with myself. And this is just kind of a fun way to gauge where you are in your emotions. So it's obviously a thermometer, an old-fashioned one, not a digital thermometer, obviously. And goes from 1 to 10. And at a 5, if you can see that, you can obviously see that in the middle. A 5 is kind of a neutral, everyday, just kind of bopping along where things are normal. We can feel complacent and get by with it. And then everything below a 5 is when we're in our emotions. And then we feel that adrenaline coming up. We feel that agitation. So anytime we feel agitated, we know we're below a 5. That's just a good rule of thumb. And when we're above a 5, that's our Zen zone, right? That's where we have peace of mind, we have discernment, we're clear thinking. In neuroscience, we can say we are in our rational mind, our prefrontal cortex, where we can think a little bit more clearly, at least on an intellectual level. So this is a nice way to gauge where we're at in this time where everything is changing so quickly. So and because things are changing so quickly, those emotions can come up really fast. Like one day, it's 2 weeks of spring break, and the next day it's 4 months of spring break. And again, I am so glad to have my son home. Just to clarify that, I'm using that kind of as an example because it's probably the biggest physical change for me. So it's on my mind, it's in my world. But I do want to say I love having my son home. He's a sweet, good kid. Anyway, but I will still use it as an example and joke about it, and he can get mad at me later. So, but the things are changing so rapidly that we can miss how we're feeling on the inside. So just constantly check in with yourself. Where am I at on the spiritual thermometer? Am I feeling scared? Am I feeling angry? Am I feeling annoyed? Am I feeling frustrated? Am I feeling, whatever other emotion that is causing agitation that you might be feeling? That's below a 5. So that's when we have to stop. And that's our next step. Stop, stop, stop. So we'll get to that in a little bit too. But I want to show you a little bit about the brain and what's happening, because I know I can talk about things from kind of a more spiritual level, but I want to get our left brain people in there too and talk about what is happening in the brain. So when we are below a 5, okay, if we can think of that spiritual thermometer again, and when we're below a 5, we are in our emotions and the reptilian brain, which is our survival mode. The people who are grabbing all the toilet paper were in their survival mode, even though we don't technically need toilet paper to survive. But they obviously thought so, and it was touching for them. This fear, it's fear-based. Like, oh my gosh, something bad is going to happen to me if I don't have enough toilet paper. So that's below a 5 because it's coming from a place that isn't rational. It's coming from a place that's agitated and kind of inner I want to say self-centered, directed. And I don't mean to put anybody down at all. I'm just kind of using that as an example, but it's where we fear for our safety. We fear for our own survival, and it's about us and nobody else. And that is just never going to work. And I am not a zombie show watcher, but I've seen a few episodes, and that is like below a 5 activity right there, that survival mode and doing whatever it takes to survive, right? So anyway, so what we want to do is get ourselves above a 5, and that's when we're in that logic and we can think more globally, not just like globally as in our world, but globally as in looking at the bigger picture, globally in our minds, and see other possibilities and be creative and open to other ways of handling things and other ways of solving our problems. So this is it's a spiritual, energetic thing. It's a body, mind, neuro, physical phenomena that we're looking at, we're dealing with, and we're having to learn how to manage. And this is a wonderful opportunity to do that. So when we're below a 5, we have to stop, and feel that agitation and acknowledge it and say, okay, before I can figure out what to do, I need to calm my body. Because when I calm my body, my mind will follow. And sometimes it's easier to calm the body than it is to calm the mind. And you probably know exactly what I'm talking about with that. It's easier to calm the body because our mind feeds on itself sometimes. So going for a walk and paying attention to the nature you see before it was snowing today, or even as I'm looking out the front window and it's snowing outside and accumulating like crazy, it's like I can go outside if I really wanted to and see that, that it's still snowing outside. Nature is still happening. The tulips are still pushing their way out of the ground, and the crocus and the buds on the trees in my backyard are coming out, and the grass that I can't see right now is turning green. I noticed that when I was on my walk yesterday, that it's getting greener and greener, and the flowers are still coming, and the world is still moving, and that nature is still there, and that can be very calming to our mind-body system. Plus, being able to look at nature and see the world is getting us outside of our minds that are chattering with all sorts of stuff that isn't helpful. Okay, when we're below a 5 like that. Get up and clean something. Cleaning moves energy. It moves your physical energy. It moves energy in your space. Being productive again, working on a puzzle somebody mentions. A friend of mine was saying that she's going to play a game of virtual Yahtzee with her nieces and nephews. They're all going to get on their computers and have that Yahtzee game and take turns playing Yahtzee, doing something that is outside of the brain. Doing something that quiets your mind. Anything. If any of these activities do that, that's great. If meditation is a good way to do that. We're going to work with a technique tonight called quick breath. And I'm going to teach it to you the way it was taught to me, but I'm also going to include a link for it's a HeartMath exercise. I'm going to include a link to HeartMath and a video and description of it, which is a little bit different than the way I learned it in a training. But I'm just going to give you that resource just so that you have it and can continue to work with it. But again, when if we can quiet our mind, and that works out well, our bodies will follow. That agitation will soothe. But if we can work it the other way around, quiet the body, then the mind will calm down as well. And then we will be above that 5 on the spiritual thermometer, and we will be able to think clearly. Then we can go, okay, what do I need to do? What do I have control over? There's a lot of things I don't have control over, and that's usually what our brains focus on. But what do I have control over? What can I be doing to help myself? What can I be doing to help my family? What can I be doing to help my neighbors, or whoever it is that I can help, who I can reach out to? And somebody's asking about the name of the website for the spiritual thermometer, and it's Center for Enlightenment. Center for Enlightenment. If you Google that, you'll be able to find it. The actual website is cfenlightenment.org. Okay, let me go on to the next one. And then our third step is proceeding from that calm place. Because when we're calm, when our mind-body system is calm, our thinking is clear. And for those of you who, for whom intuition is part of your conversation and your vocabulary, then your intuition is way more perceptive and open when the mind-body system is calm. So regardless of where you're coming from, that mind-body system being calm allows for clear thinking. It allows for creativity. It allows for pulling from a storehouse of information that gets shut down when we're in our emotions and trying to figure something out. So proceeding from calm, proceeding can mean taking an action, reaching out, resting, writing down your thoughts about what's happening, being productive, you know, going for a walk. Those are action-oriented things, right? Or proceeding can mean let go. There's nothing I can do about this. I just have to let it go. There's nothing I can do about my son being home from school, so I just have to let it go. And letting go of believing that what we would like to control is always what we can control. But there are things that we can control, but we have to have that calm mind to be able to discern what that is. Because when we're in our fear, we want to control things that are usually out of our control. And when we're calm, we're able to see what is in our control and what we can calm. Being there for someone else gets us out of ourselves, and that's something that we can control. That's something that will help our calm. And I put in here, did I mention let go? Because letting go is often more of our action step than doing something when our minds are kind of chewing on themselves, so to speak. And all of this is about flowing with the current reality, flowing with the current reality that may have been different 5 minutes ago, just accepting what is, that radical acceptance that is kind of big out there right now. How do we just radically accept that this is what it is? Here's what I can do about it, and here's what I can't do about it. And that is just how it is. And we accept it, we embrace it, and that allows us to move forward with what we're doing and move forward with what's happening in our world. So quick breath. So this is the way I learned it. I learned this from Steve Sawyer, who is one of the trainers for brain spotting. And he also, I think, is connected with HeartMath in some way. I'm not sure if he's on the board or if he's in, he's part of a bigger part of the organization than I'm aware of right off the top of my head. But I took a training from him last fall, and he taught us this technique, and he called it quick breath. On the link I'm going to send you, it's called quick coherence. And for those of you who don't know about HeartMath, it's about brain-heart coherence. And I have not been trained in HeartMath. I know enough about it to sound smart if you don't ask me questions, but I love this technique. And if you want to learn more about it, you can check out the website that I'll send you. But I love this, and it made such a huge difference for me. I use it in my practice all the time with people. So this is about reaching that calm from a meditative place. And this is kind of where we're going to, I think I've got another slide after this one, but this is really where I want to kind of end our time together so that we can all get off the computer from that state of calm. And this is so beautiful. And what I love about it, or part of what I love a lot of things about it, one of the things I love about it is that HeartMath has been around for a very long time, and they've done a lot of research into breathing. And before I was trained in this particular method last fall, I would tell my clients, as long as you're breathing from your belly, it doesn't really matter how long your breaths are, just breathe naturally and normally. And I still believe that, I still teach that. But this was kind of interesting because HeartMath does a lot of biofeedback kinds of things. And in their studies, they've learned that count of 4, and I think on the link I'm sending you, it's a count of 5, but close enough. It depends on how fast you count, right? So breathing into the count of 4, breathing out to the count of 4 has been what they have found in their studies brings a mind-body system to that regulation state most efficiently. So you can go to 6, you can go to 3, but that 4 to 5 second in breath, then 4 to 5 second out breath has been kind of the hot spot of being able to bring your mind-body system to that calm. And I love this too because of the second part of it. So we're going to walk through this exercise together, and I'm going to stop talking eventually so that we can just kind of be in that within yourself, because my counting is going to be different than your counting. But as you practice that breath in 4 and out 4, when that starts flowing easily for you, the next step is to put your focus on the tip of your heart. If you can imagine your heart in your chest, your physical heart, and imagine where the tip is, and I imagine mine to be right about here, and put your focus, put your mind attention on that place, that physical place right there that's at the tip of your heart, and continue the breathing, and just focus on that heart spot. It helps that mind-heart connection, but the whole mind-body system to feel more in integrity with itself on a physical level, on an emotional level, on a mental level, and it's so beautiful. So let's go ahead and practice that for a few minutes. So we're going to just breathe into the count of 4, and this is like the 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000 count. So that's how slowly we're going to do that. So we're going to breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, and then out 2, 3, 4, and then in, and I'm going to stop counting, and you just let yourself find your count of 4 rhythm. And let's just do that first, get into the flow of that. When you feel like you have that rhythm pretty naturally, where it's not as hard to keep track of the counting of it, then put your focus on the tip of your heart. I like touching my chest, my sternum, right where that would be, because it helps my mind focus on that place more easily. And keep the breathing going. And there's nothing else that needs to be happening or you need to be figuring out. Just let yourself be aware of that point on your heart. Letting your breathing come in and out naturally. And just notice what is happening to your whole body as you've been breathing. Maybe you've noticed your muscles relax more. Maybe the places where you're holding tension stand out a little bit more. And if you want to take this to that next level and work with your tension, you can keep that breathing going and focus on that part of your body that's holding tension, maybe in a shoulder. Just feel that breath coming in and out to the count of 4 each time through that place in the body where you might be holding tension. And just notice it with compassion and love. And if you can be patient with yourself and with that part of your body for long enough, you'll feel it relax. You'll feel that tension disperse a little bit. And since your breath and your heart and your body are with you all the time, this is a technique that you can use anywhere. If there's a long line in those 3 hours that the stores are open that you're waiting in, just work with your breathing. Put your focus on your heart. Notice any tension you might be feeling from the long line and just breathe through it. So this is the technique that I want to leave you with for today. And like I said earlier, I do want to continue having this connection time. And next time I will make sure we can see each other as well as chat with each other. And you are always welcome to not turn on your video camera. That is always an option, just like it's always an option not to add anything in the chat section, but just so that we can connect with each other. We've got a vote for online meditation. Um, there's a brain spotting technique that I want to work with next time that I had a request for, and it was already on my list also, so there was a double vote for that one. And these are going to be free, so don't worry about that. And if you want to sign up for the email invitations, there's a email form at the bottom of my homepage at centerfordynamichealing.com. And then you can just receive them through email, and you don't have to find them on Facebook or wherever else you saw the link for it. I tried to put it out there in a few different places. And please share your feedback, your questions, your desires for more exploration, and what kind of support you feel like you need. I didn't put my email address up here, but it is chicagobrainspotting@gmail.com. chicagobrainspotting@gmail.com, and I'm happy to hear from you. And you should be receiving a link of this recording, and feel free to share it with anybody. Um, I look forward to seeing you all again next time. I'm not sure when the next one will be, probably next Sunday evening, maybe a little bit later because my schedule goes longer next week, but I will keep you posted. And if there's another day or time that works better, let me know that too, and I'll see if I can incorporate that into our process here. So thank you again for coming and for your interest. And I'm very grateful to have you be going through this with me too, because I'm in this with you, and I'm frustrated and stressed out sometimes and all of that with you. So again, I'm doing this for you, and I'm doing this for myself, and I just appreciate the company. So lots of love to you, and thank you. And I will talk to you soon. And I'm going to have to figure out how to get out of this. So let's see. Oh, there we go. All right. Bye-bye, everybody.